New Siami family. Hello, how's it going? we want to we are pleased to announce that we're going to be doing a marriage series with our good friends Manzambi Zola and his wife Brenda, and we wanted to take this time to basically just basically
like a prelude.
Yeah, it's like this is just like a prelude to the marriage series, and I believe that we're going. Are we going to rotate every week? Are we going to? Because the first one is going to be on their page, on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I have to get the schedule.
And I think the next one's going to be on our channel.
I'm not sure, but we'll definitely let you all know.
Okay.
But as for now, the series is going to begin this coming Saturday, tomorrow, and it's going to start at 3. If you would like to join us, we will link the information in the description box to Manzambi Zola's Zoom information. But this is just a prelude to what we're going to be talking about. We're going to get more in depth with kingdom marriages and what it means. Because as I said before, the Most High is bringing together kingdom marriages, and he's doing it for a purpose. So we're going to dig deep, and we're going to see what that purpose is. But as for now, we're going to go ahead and get started with today's teaching. But first, babe, can you lead us in a word of prayer?
Sure. Kimbo, Tata Manzambi, thank you for your love, your grace, your peace, and your mercy. We praise you as the Most High, Yamazulu. We come to you today, and we ask, Father, that you use us, Father, to guide and to assist in any way we can. Use us for your glory. And Yesaiah's mighty name,
Geta.
Yeah. So we wanted to. This is going to be the prelude to the series, and we are very big on marriage. We're very big on marriage, and because as you know, that the marriages within the community of Isolele has been attacked, and constantly under attack, and we cannot be a mighty nation unless we have the family structure intact. And so we're big on marriage. We always promote marriage, and because this is how nations are built. This is how nations are built. Nations are not built with modern marriages. And you know what I'm getting at when I say that. So we wanted to just take a closer look at the book of Ruth and kind of just, just go through it and break it down a little bit, and let's get let's pull some meat out of this, and let's talk about marriage.
Yeah, we're gonna read the entire chapter of chapter 2 of the book of Ruth. I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of a woman or a wife. My husband will be speaking from the perspective of a man or a husband.
Yeah.
We always hear, I definitely heard in church, but we always hear, girl, go get your Boaz. Okay, well, we gonna see, you ain't gonna go get nothing. You have to be chosen, because the word says, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
That's right.
So we want to do things in line with what the word says. So we're gonna jump right in and get started. So Ruth chapter 2, starting at verse 1. Now Naomi had a relative on her husband's side from the clan.
Yeah, let's turn that off.
From the clan of Elimelech. And please don't come for me in the comments with these names. A man of standing whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor. Naomi said to her, go ahead, my daughter. So she went out and began to glean in the fields behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she found herself working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. So I'm going to stop right there for a minute. One thing I want to point out is, so we know the backstory with Ruth and Naomi. Naomi is the mother-in-law to Ruth. Naomi had 2 sons. And Naomi herself was married. She lost her husband first and then later lost her 2 sons. They both were married to women. One was Orpah, I think her name was. I always want to say Oprah, but I believe it's Orpah. And then the other one was, as we know, Ruth. So after Naomi loses her 2 sons, she basically tells her daughter-in-laws, go back home. You know, ain't nothing I can do for you. I'm not getting married again. I'm not having no more kids. I'm old. You know, so go back home. Oprah, she left. But Ruth clung to Naomi. So they decided to go back to Naomi decided to go back to her own land, her own home, because they were driven to I think it was the Moabite area because of the famine that was taking place. But when she found out that the Most High was blessing that area that she's from, she decided to go back home, and Ruth followed. So I just wanted to point out in the first 3 chapters that, verses that we read, Ruth was not seeking Boaz out. She was working. She was working. She had things that she was doing. She wasn't going out seeking a man. Okay. And I think a lot of times we as women try to position ourselves in such a way to make ourselves look a certain way in the eyes of the man that we are going after. But that is not what we are to do. As I said before, we are to be chosen by the man. And when he sees you, he should not be looking at your outward appearance. He should be looking at the spirit in you. He should be attracted to your spirit first. But in this case, Ruth was at work. She was working. Did you want to add to that, babe?
Yeah. I wanted to say, now you say men shouldn't be looking at outward appearance, and you're right. But the first thing that grabs a man's attention is the physical appearance, because men are visual.
Right.
And so so as you'll see later on, when Boaz first lays eyes on Ruth, he takes notice of her, and he shows her favor because he's slightly interested, I guess I could put it that way. He doesn't know her, but he sees her and he's interested, or slightly interested in the point where he shows her favor in his field, and tells her, don't go to no one else's field, you stay in my field and continue to work. And he kind of keeps her close to him. And so, as you see, as the story progresses, they get to know each other, that sort of thing. But I just wanted to also say that men, we like virtue. We like to see virtue in a woman. And so when we do first lay eyes on a woman for the first time, we we now a man that's looking for a wife doesn't want to see a woman with her breasts hanging out, or butt hanging out, wearing tight clothing. We're not looking for a thought. We're not looking for um, or
anything provocative.
Provocative. We're not looking for a hoe, anything like that. We're talking about men who are looking for a wife. Now now the way you put it out there is the way you're going to get dealt with the man. So if you are provocative, provocatively dressed, and that sort of thing, then you are accentuating your physical attributes as the eye of a man. So therefore, since you caught his eye with being scantily dressed and being revealing with the way you dress, then that's the way he's going to deal with you. That's the way he's going to handle you. He's going to get what he likes, and then it's just going to be a physical attraction, and he's not even going to be remotely interested in your spirit or what you possess in the inside or your talents, because you are accentuating your physical attributes to him. So naturally, the man is going to deal with you on that level. So if you wanna show your butt, then
he's gonna chase it.
He's gonna chase it. And let me say this too. Black women, I'm so tired of seeing my sisters. When you take photos of yourself, every time when I see a black woman take a photo of themselves, they always got their butt out. You know what I mean? They always accentuating their butts like this, and they doing that, and always putting their butt out there. And it's like you sending a message saying that hey, look at my butt. I got a nice butt. And of course, men are going to be attracted to that and want to pursue that and pursue you in a sexual way only. And so your butt is not your best attribute about you. I don't care whatever you think, however your butt may look, it's not the best part about you. And black women have to know that they're just more than just butts. You more than a butt. You know what I mean? And so I pray for my sisters, because I see a lot of them do that, and I see a lot of the younger girls, they learn from the older ones. They see the older ones doing it.
You even have the babies. They got the babies doing it. Yeah. You have these kids, and you got the little baby girls. They barely know their ABCs, but they can poke that butt out. Yeah. So it comes from a place of wanting to be noticed. You seeking attention. You can admit it or not, but you're seeking attention when you put yourself or exploit yourself in such a way. And then what gets me is a lot of the females, they get upset when they get this, what they claim, unwanted attention. Well, if you put it out there, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I understand that we are supposed to be able to control ourselves, but why are you antagonizing the enemy? Yeah. We should not do this. We should carry ourselves with respect. When did nudity equal sexiness? Right. I feel confident in who I am enough I don't have to put it all out there to get my husband's attention. I don't have to do that. And there's something mysterious, correct me if I'm wrong, in somebody who covers themselves up. It's like we're supposed to be like a gift to our husband. And when you cover up, you are wrapping that gift.
That's right.
So, we just have to have more respect for ourselves. We can't tell the Black man to respect us if we don't respect ourselves. And it comes from low self-esteem. And daddy issues, if I'm being quite honest. I know we, probably 95% of us can say we have some type of daddy issues. And when you don't get that attention starting with your dad, and I'm not talking about a sexual attention from your dad. What I'm saying is when you don't get that attention from your dad, or your dad is not present to tell you, this is how guys think. You know what I mean? This is what you fall into. Seeking that attention from another male, i.e. the man that, you're pursuing. And it's how you say it, seductress? I don't know why I'm fumbling over that word.
Seduction. Oh, seductress.
Yes, seductress spirit.
Yeah.
A seducing spirit. And you may not even realize that it's on you, but we have to do better. You have to do better. You don't have to put yourself out there like that. So going back to the scripture, when Boaz noticed Ruth was working. She was working to benefit her household. And at the time, her household was her and Naomi. So she was out there working so they can eat. So what I want to say to my sisters is, you don't have to position yourself in a way that you're trying to get his attention. Don't do it like that. Just do what the Most High has called you to do. Find yourself at work. And I'm not talking about like your 9 to 5. The Most High gave us all purpose. So whatever your purpose is, find yourself in that work. And one day your Boaz will come and notice you. And that's how things will start. You don't have to force anything.
Absolutely. And I just want to piggyback on that. Your purpose in life is not your career. I'm sorry, it is not. Is your purpose in life is what how Genesis, Lord say, be fruitful and multiply, and that is what a lot of women may not like to hear, but that is your godly purpose. And so if
and he's not just talking about having babies.
It's
when he told us to be fruitful and multiply, that's not only speaking to the physical aspect, but also the spiritual aspect.
Your purpose. You find your purpose in the Most High, and you do that until your man or your husband to be finds you.
Right.
But you don't go out seeking. You don't seek your husband. He seeks you.
Right.
And we'll get into that later.
Okay, verse 4. Just then Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. The Lord be with you. The Lord bless you, they called back. Boaz asked the foreman of his harvesters, whose young woman is that? The foreman replied, she is the Moabitess who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters. She went into the field and has worked steadily from morning till now, except for a short rest in the shelter. So Boaz said to Ruth, my daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with my servant girls. Watch the fields where the men are harvesting, and follow along after the girls. I have told the men not to touch you, and whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled. So at this moment, Boaz is already reserving Ruth for himself.
Right.
I told the men don't touch you.
That's right.
Like they can't holler at you.
That's right.
He reserved them for himself.
He's
And
staking his claim.
Staking his claim, exactly. So again, I just wanted to stress she was working. She wasn't seeking Boaz out. She didn't come and say, you know what, this man, he a rich man. I'm gonna go glean in his field so he can notice me. It wasn't like that. She ain't paint her face so she can be noticed by Boaz or anything like that. She went with a purpose. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, men can see that drive in you. Or how my husband said that virtue.
Yeah.
They can see that. And that's what I meant when I said they can see, they're also attracted to your spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, there is a element of physical attraction, but they're also attracted to your spirit. And nobody wants to, because when you get married, the two becomes one. If you out there putting it all out there, why would he want to become one with that? Because you're going to attract other flies to your honey. So we just have to be we have to wait and be patient. Your time is coming. Don't rush things. And another thing I want to add is if you've been married before and that marriage put a bad taste in your mouth, don't cut yourself off from meeting another Boaz. Don't cut yourself off because you maybe made a mistake the first time around. It happens. You know what I mean? You just ask the Most High to reveal to you your part in it. Because yes, there could have been infidelity. There could have been physical abuse. Whatever the case may be of why you decided to end that marriage and divorce, we all play a role. And there's decisions that we make, like you may not realize that you could have been the antagonizer. Or there's something that you could have been doing to create such a situation. Or the Most High just could have told you, no, don't get into that relationship, and you didn't listen. And so because of that, this is what you had to deal with. So you have to take that self-responsibility or self-accountability and say, what did I do wrong? And ask the Most High to change you. Because a lot of times, I know us women, we feel like, dag, I keep attracting the same guy, different face, same guy. It's the spirit. It's the spirit that you are attracting. So you have to ask the Most High to change you so you can attract a different spirit. And you won't keep falling into the same situation.
So it takes about, it takes about a good, well, let me just say this, you hear women say, and men say, no, she crazy and or he's crazy. And listen, let me tell you, we all crazy. Everybody's crazy in today's time, living in this world this modern world that we're in. We're all crazy because we're all products of wherever we live at. We're all products of that. And so we know the world and how the world is, the world pushes sex on us in advertising and everything. And I talked about that in the lust video with the men. How advertising is always drumming, sexual images to sell a product and selling sex. So we're all influenced by that, whether we subconsciously, whether we realize it or not. And so we all grow up in this world a bit crazy. You know what I mean? So when you feel like that your significant other is crazy, hey, listen, you're crazy too. And so so basically what you can do is just and for you singles out there, is to find somebody that matches your crazy, and you get together and you make it work. And the other thing is, it takes about a good 7 to 10 years for you guys to for the arguing to stop. You know what I mean? And for you to stop saying I'm gonna leave you or I'm gonna divorce you. That takes about a good 7 years to get that out of your system. And so you wanna if you're gonna take marital advice from anyone, you want to take it from someone who has a successful marriage, who has at least 10 years plus of marriage in the game, because anything less than 10, they're still trying to mesh together. And it takes about a good, like I said, a good 7 to 10 years before you find this equilibrium with your new mate. And because up until that 7 to 10 year mark, you're still arguing a lot. You're still
trying to become one.
You're still trying to become one. You still threaten, I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna divorce you. And it takes about a good 7 to 10 years to get all of that out for you to even stop saying that. And so 10 years, you have this oneness. You have this oneness.
It reminds me, I don't know why when you were talking, it reminded me of that movie Avatar. You know that, I don't know what that creature was. So the Avatar had to take his braid and link it with that, it looked like a dragon almost.
Yeah, that creature.
But some kind of horse, I don't know. But you know, had to link it with one, and the female avatar told her, you know, you have to be one with this thing. So
with this animal.
He had a hard time doing it. Like, it wasn't as easy as I'm gonna go up and link my braid with your braid and we gonna be cool. It wasn't that easy. And with marriage, sometimes it's not that easy because you're coming from two different backgrounds. Yeah. And if you marry somebody outside of your own race, now you're dealing with two different cultures. Yeah. If you marry somebody that doesn't believe as you believe, now you dealing with two different.
The Bible calls that being unequally
yoked. So that's most times that's what you're dealing with the first 7 years. Yeah. That whole unequally yoked. That's not to say that the Most High cannot save your significant other. It just means that it's going to be some turbulent times, but that is where relationship forms. Mm-hmm. It's not in the good times, it's in the hard times. Is when relationship forms, is when your relationship is put to the test. And I can attest that there's nothing too hard, like nothing that y'all went through that's too hard for the Most High. Yeah. If you have a will to want to save it and your spouse have a will, it can be done. Yeah. Okay.
And that's the other thing nowadays. You know, this generation is just so quick to walk away. And you could tell that by the songs we listen to nowadays. You know, back in the day, you know, you had who's it, Shirley Murdoch, who used to call the other woman and say, look, I ain't gonna get out the bag on you, but that's my man. Right. You know what I'm saying? And now you got Beyonce talking about to the left.
Right.
The bag's packed by the door. So this generation doesn't know how to stick with it. They don't know how to stick it in and stick it out. Thank you, and make it work. Whereas, you know, the older generation, our grandmama and them generation, they knew how to stick it out and work it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And whereas, you know, today, you know, this generation now, it's like, oh, you know, he could kick rocks and don't have that stick to itness.
Right. And a lot of times there are children that are involved, and you know, you bring children into this mess and really do the kids a disservice. Now you have young girls that grow up that feel like, what do I need a man for? Like, or the thing that really boggles my mind, you have women that decide they're going to be lesbians, but yet they sleep with the man just for the fact that they can produce children,
Yeah.
but yet they're in these homosexual relationships, and it's just so much confusion that comes out of it
Yeah.
when people are not playing their part or following what the Most High has called to be a kingdom marriage.
Yeah.
So all of these things are important, but I'm gonna jump right back into the scripture. Okay, so verse 10, at this she bowed down with her face to the ground. She exclaimed, why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner? Boaz replies, I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Isolele, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. May I continue to find favor in your eyes, my Lord, she said. You have given me comfort and have spoken kindly to your servant, though I do not have the standing of one of your servant girls. So she already saying, like, I found favor. She said, I have not found the standing of one of your servant girls. She could be talking about she ain't as pretty. She ain't, her body is not aesthetically as fine as the other servant girls,
Right.
but yet she stood out. And she was a foreigner.
Right.
She stood out. Okay. And another thing that I realized in the scripture is Ruth submitted herself. She submitted, well, at this time, she submitted herself to Naomi and the ways of Isolele instead of going back home to her own people. Because if you read chapter 1, like I said, Naomi told her, go home to your own people, your own gods.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
But she said, no, I'm going to go where you go. So she submitted herself. And because of that, she found favor. This word got back to Boaz, and she found favor in Boaz's eyes. Yeah. Now, a lot of women find trouble with that word submission.
Yeah, that's a cuss word.
It's like, what is that? Like, we got this girls rule the world mentality, and it comes from feminism. I'm not saying that women cannot be great. What I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with submission, because submission is what the Most High called us to do. Submit to our husbands as our husbands submit to our Father. Right. That's the order of things. But we have an issue with that word because we allow our oppressor to get in our heads. Yeah. And we have to stop it. Like, I submit to my husband, but we make decisions together. Right. You know, we talk about it.
That's right. That's right. I value my wife's opinion and her take on things, and you know, I consult with her. We talk about it, and then at the end of the day, if I feel like we need to go another way, and she respects that.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, when we first got married, you know, we both was working. We had we had our separate bank accounts. We both had our own jobs. We were still very much separated. We did not become one. Right. And we had that mindset of being separate. Yeah. We didn't have the mindset of being one. So I would make a purchase out of my bank account, and he would ask me, like, well, where was blank, blank, blank? Like, where the money go? And I'm like, well, if I didn't like the fact that he didn't want me to buy something, my response was, it's my money. It was my job. I work for this money. I. Even though it benefited all of us. Like, not benefited, but we all were affected by it. Him, our children, we were all affected by the decision that I made for myself. Yeah. So, you know, we have to learn submission. Did you want to add add to that, babe?
Oh, no, baby. No, fine.
Okay. So verse 14. At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come over here, have some bread and dip it in the wine vinegar." When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. And she got up to glean. Boaz gave orders to his men. "Even if she gathers among the sheaves, don't embarrass her. Rather, pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up. And don't rebuke her." So Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed the barley she had gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah or ephah. She carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered. Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over after she had eaten enough. Her mother-in-law asked her, where did you glean today? Where did you work? Blessed be the man who took notice of you." Then Ruth told her mother-in-law about the one at whose place she had been working. "The name of the man I work with today is Boaz," she said. "The Lord bless him." Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead." She added, "That man is our close relative. He is one of our kinsman redeemers." Then Ruth the Moabitess said, "He even said to me, 'Stay with my workers until they finish harvesting all my grain.'" Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, "It will be good for you, my daughter, to go with his girls, because in someone else's field you might be harmed." So Ruth stayed close to the servant girls of Boaz to glean until the barley and wheat harvest were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. So I just wanted to really point out how us as women, we have to be careful of who is in our ears. And that is also the destruction of a lot of marriages. We take advice from our single friends who ain't got no man, or who has not been married, or who been in a terrible marriage and haven't learned anything from it. And we take that advice instead of taking advice from someone who has been through it, or someone who has wisdom, who is qualified to give counsel. We also a lot of times we enter these three-way relationships. It be you, your husband, and your mama, or his mama, or your cousin Pookie, or your best friend Peaches. I mean, you taking all this advice, but they weren't with you from the beginning. They don't really know everything that is going on. When you do tell them things, but you shouldn't reveal everything that's going on in your household. But when you do tell them things, it's one-sided. You tell them things that make you look like the saint or the victim. So you have to be careful of who's in your ear. Now, I'm not telling you you can't go get advice. If you need to seek counsel, you should. I mean, that the Bible tells us that. But it has to be wise counsel. Right. And I would tell you to pray about it first. Whatever your issue is that you're going through, and this is for single women as well. When you are courting a young man, or a young man is courting you, don't tell everything to your friends. It's not for them to know everything, because what ends up happening is that person that you are disclosing all this information to, they'll listen, but they'll set themselves in a position to take that man from you. And I see it happen too often. But we have to seek wise counsel. Pray to the Most High. If there is an issue that you're having with the young man that is courting you, or with your husband, and let the Most High guide you to who should be your counsel.
Yes.
So Naomi was a woman who was seasoned. She was experienced.
Oh, yeah.
So she had she was qualified to give this information.
Yeah.
But I do want to stress, even if if they've been married for 50 years, look at their marriage.
Yeah.
Look at the things that they've been going through in their marriage.
Yes.
Is it more like a arrangement?
Right.
Where, they're just companions?
Exactly.
Or are they truly one?
Exactly.
Do you see that they're butting heads or they can't agree? Don't get hyped up that, oh, they've been married for 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay, they may have been married for 50 years, but how is it turbulent? Yeah. Like you have to show a bit of wisdom there too. And that's why I said, let the Most High guide you on who to receive counsel from.
Yeah, see, that's an interesting point, babe. Because I know, back in the day, like, our grandparents' generation, they had that common law. And it still goes on today. People in that common law marriage type of thing where they're not legally married. They just been living together for like for 10, 30 years or whatever. Don't seek advice from them. Because if you want to get advice from someone who has a successful marriage, not a common law type of arrangement where they couldn't even get the man to turn that corner and marry them and
commit to them.
So that wouldn't be, even though they've been together for years and years, but if that man has not committed to her and married her, then don't seek advice from him or her, because you want to get advice from someone who has a marriage, a successful marriage. And age doesn't apply wisdom. You can't assume that just because someone has aged, they're wise.
Because there's some old fools out there.
Ain't that the truth?
I'm gonna leave that right there. But we just have to be wise with who we allow in our space and in our ear, because that can really destroy budding relationships. And it can be bad, things can be ruined because of that. And another thing I want to add, and this is kind of like outside of this chapter, we're done with this chapter, by the way. Ladies, I'll even talk to the men on this one. Your best friend should be your wife or your husband.
Oh, tell them, babe.
How dare you say it? Imagine me coming to my husband and saying, my best friend is this guy right here. We got history. We've been in high school together, blah, blah, blah. You think he want to hear that, babe? You want to hear that?
H-E double hockey stick.
He don't want to hear that, and I dang sure don't want to hear him coming to tell me about his best friend, this female best friend. It's not a jealousy thing, but the two becomes one. Yeah. So imagine if every time I have an issue with my husband, I'm going to run to my male best friend.
That's just foolery right there.
And what happens is, you'll end up running into the arms of your best friend.
That's right.
And I saw it with a good friend of mine when I was in college. Her husband was in the military, and his best friend was one of the women that was serving with him, and she felt like she just had to respect that because they were serving together. And I'm listening like, are you crazy? And to make a long story short, he ended up leaving her for his best friend because he felt like they had more in common than him and his wife did.
Right.
That is unheard of.
Yeah. And even if your best friend is another female for the ladies, right? Even if the best friend's a female, or for the guys, if you say your boy, your best friend is listen, your best friend should be your spouse.
That's right.
Men, your best friend should be your wife.
That's right.
And for the ladies, your best friend should be your husband.
And I'm not saying ditch your friend. What I'm saying is you have to prioritize at this point. So did I have a best friend prior to meeting my husband? Absolutely. But I prioritized my relationships. So now her word did not, it wasn't greater than his word. You know what I mean? Like the things I used to go to her about, now I'm going to my husband about because he is my best friend.
Yeah.
I vowed to spend the rest of my life with him, not with her.
Yeah.
So it would only behoove me to come to him and for us to come together. So we're not advocating that you cannot have friends outside of your marriage, but I'm saying prioritize and be wise.
Yeah.
Your best friend should not be outside of your marriage. It should be within your marriage.
Yeah.
When I look at my husband, I look at somebody I can lean on, somebody I can talk to, somebody who I can cry to, somebody who's gonna tell me when I'm tripping. He ain't no yes man. Like he gonna tell me the truth. Like if I'm tripping, he gonna be like, "Babe, you tripping. You need to get yourself together." But he gonna do it in love. I don't have to worry about him stabbing me in the back or anything like that. And he gets the same thing from me.
That's right.
So you have to really just see your spouse as your best friend. And I remember a time we were talking to some old head couple, okay? And the topic had came up of our best friends, and they were talking about somebody else that was their best friend outside of their marriage. And I was like, well, my husband's my best friend. And he said the same. And we got such a look like, really? And I'm like, yeah, like you got me scratching my head. Like, why isn't that the answer for you?
Yeah.
But I also understand these are things that you have to grow into. But that's the mindset that you have to have.
That's right.
It's not. I'm not saying that it's a cakewalk because marriage is not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But if you have the will to want it to work, it will. And you have to put the Most High first. Don't go following after some man who is not submitting to the Most High. That's the other thing. Like, yes, marriage is great, but don't marry anybody. Don't be desperate. Don't be thirsty. You have to marry someone who seeks the Most High. Okay? You ought to be able to see him worship. You ought to be able to see him pray. If you don't see him do them things, he ain't the one, or he ain't ready. You want to see him be vulnerable with our Father, with the Most High. And if you don't see those things, perhaps he's not the one, because what you see now is going to be the standard of what it's going to be like in your marriage. If he don't worship, and he see you and you marry him, he see you worship all the time, and you spending more time with the Most High and not him, he gonna be like, hold up, what you doing? He's gonna, he's gonna have a problem with that because y'all not on one accord. So
and men, women love to see their men worship. They love to see their men worship because that tells your woman that you have submitted to someone greater than yourself.
Right.
And you are not the that gives the woman security.
Yes.
That gives the woman security to see her man worship.
That's right.
Worship through the Most High.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, that's all a woman wants. She needs security.
That's
And
right.
men need to speak security into their wives, into their woman, you know,
Through the word.
through the word. Because the word says that it describes in Ephesians how Christ, the church, uh, Christ has the church washes with the word, and that's how we men we supposed to do with our wives, wash them with the word, and then present her as a present to yourself. You're presenting your wife back to you when you wash her with the word, and you know that's why you know you have a lot of women who 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 well, let me say this. That's why I say that it takes about a good 7 to 10 years for all of that foolishness to get purged from you. Because that first 7 to 10 years, you're still having, you may have separate bank accounts. So you still may have a best friend outside of your marriage, and you holding on to that mindset you have. That singleness mindset. You still, because you used to being single. And so this marriage thing is like you are coming together with another person, and you're trying to mesh your life with this person's life, and there's a lot of bumping heads, a lot of conflict. So it takes about a good 7 to 10 years to work all of that out, because that's what all the arguments come in the first few years of the marriage. You're arguing and talking about, well, I'm gonna leave you. Well, I'm gonna leave you. Well, I'm gonna divorce you. I'm gonna divorce you too.
I think in the first year, every other week, we was like, well, I'm leaving. I ain't got to take this. And it's because I didn't want to submit, because he wasn't submitting to the Most High at first. But when he aligned his life with the Most High, everything fell in place. Yeah. I know there was chaos in our home because he didn't submit, I didn't submit, then the kids wasn't submitting, and everybody was doing their own thing. But as soon as he aligned himself with the Most High, everything fell in place. And I could tell you, we have been the closest that we've ever been. And we've been together for 15 years. Yeah. 15 years. So, you gotta submit. Yeah. Somebody gotta submit.
And another thing, man, doggone it was on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. I hate when that happens.
He'll come back to you.
Yeah. It was something about how I wanted to men come with a vision. This ain't no boyfriend, girlfriend thing. Mm-hmm. So once you tie the knot and get married, you got to put away that boyfriend, girlfriend mentality, and you want to know. Well, let me just get back to the vision. I don't want to veer off, but with the vision, you come with a vision, and you and your wife, you come together, and you wrap that vision. Your vision is wrapped within your wife. You understand what I'm saying?
It's like, as his wife, I complete the vision.
Exactly. So you have your helpmate. Your wife's job is to help you with the vision that you have for your family. So you and her should be on one accord, striving for the same vision that you have for the success of your family. So, your vision is wrapped up in her. You know what I'm saying? So my vision is wrapped up in you, man. So I don't play that girlfriend, boyfriend stuff. And, we're getting back to what you were saying, how, the girlfriend, your friend had your friend's husband had a best friend who was a female.
Right.
And the wife was okay with that. And so that's a negative.
Ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen, because what you have there is that you want to know who your husband, who your spouse is talking to. You know what I mean? Because if someone calls the house for your wife, people don't have house phones anymore, right? With cell phone, but there's nobody on your wife's cell phone that you shouldn't know. You understand what I'm saying? So everybody on her cell phone you should know. It's not that you checking her cell phone or anything like that. It's not like that. You know what I mean? But it's a openness.
It's a respect.
Thank you. It's a respect thing. Everybody on my cell phone who calls me, she knows, and vice versa. You know what I mean?
And I don't have to lock my cell phone.
Right.
I ain't gotta. He knows my code.
Yeah.
Like
she knows my code.
It ain't none of that. I could freely use his phone without him getting nervous, and vice versa. Like if you clench up and get real scared if your spouse touch your phone, you doing something wrong.
Right.
You doing something wrong. You hiding something.
Yeah.
So it ain't none of that. You have to be. You have to respect one another. Like he said, it's not about spying or checking up on one. It's not like that. It's a respect thing. And I respect myself. So, now, have I had guys hit on me while I was married? Absolutely. I shut it down every time. And I let them know, nah, I'm taken, I'm married. So I'm not going to form relationships like that, even if they start off as friendships.
Yeah.
Don't even do it. Don't even do it to yourself. You can be nice, you can be cordial, but as a wife, I'm not going to find myself cackling with men, even if it's just a work relationship. I'm not going to find myself cackling with men in their company all the time. Us going out, supposed to be a group work date or whatever. I mean, like, the more you spend time with other people, you're connecting more with them than you're connecting to your spouse.
Yeah.
So you have to have wisdom and don't put yourself in situations that will spoil your marriage.
Yeah.
So that's all I really have, babe. Did you have anything else?
I think we should save the rest for this marriage series.
I agree.
With Manzambi Zola and his lovely wife Brenda, and so it's going to be a lot of good stuff that's going to be coming up in the next few weeks with this marriage series. And so we just wanted to give you guys a prelude today to that series, and there's going to be more to come. So tune in.
Yeah, and again, I will leave that information. If you want to tune in via Zoom and just come and listen and be a part of the discussion, whether you're married or single, because this is not just for married people. These are for people who desire to be married. So I will leave their information, their Zoom information in the description box. Or if you cannot join us tomorrow at 3, then just listen out for
we'll include their YouTube channel.
Yeah, well. And just be looking for the series. And we really pray that a lot of kingdom marriages will come out of this, because a lot of people are just stuck. They don't know what to do. They have the desire, but they just have no clue. And the Most High is changing things, because the society we live in today has changed the standard of marriage. Yeah. And the Most High says not so. So, just be looking out for that. and we will see you soon.